This video is sponsored by ChefsTemp. ChefsTemp wanted me to try out their ProTemp Plus wireless meat thermometer, and they gave me one for free, and they also paid for some of the production costs for this video, so that way I could make it for you. And they asked me to be honest and thorough with my review, and I intend to do that. And at this point, I've done several cooks, both long and short, using the ProTemp Plus, and I want to share with you some of my favorite features. And the first one is it's completely wireless. And I've called other thermometers wireless, even though they have a probe that looks like this with the wires hanging off of it. This is much more convenient. It makes things possible like a rotisserie where it would just get tangled up, or if you don't like fiddling with these wires when you flip things over, this, you don't have to deal with any of that. They do that by transmitting the temperature from the wireless thermometer to the base station, and then from the base station to your phone through either Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. And the Wi-Fi is a real differentiating feature in this thermometer because if you only have Bluetooth, this one does have Bluetooth, is that you're limited in your range up to 300, 400, 500 feet before you start to disconnect. But since this one can connect through Wi-Fi, you have unlimited range so long as this has connection to the Wi-Fi, and wherever you are, you have connection to the internet. And you can configure this on the Wi-Fi by using the app in order to be able to set the settings for it, and after that you can connect to it from your phone from anywhere. And I tested that by going to the store while I was doing a cook, and I was able to keep up on the temperatures all throughout the time, so I was informed the whole time. And this probe may look like it only has one temperature sensor, but it actually has two. The main one is the one that measures the temperature of the meat, and that's on this end. It has a maximum temperature of 212 degrees Fahrenheit. If you go over that, you may damage it. And the way that they keep that safe is there's a line right here. You have to stick the probe that far into the meat in order to keep this from getting too hot and also get an accurate reading. On the other end is the ambient temperature probe, which allows you to measure the temperature inside of your cooker. Right here on the end, that's where that is measured. That's super convenient, so you don't have to deal with two probes. You can do it all with just one. And that ambient probe has a maximum temperature of 752 degrees Fahrenheit, and it comes with a recommendation that you don't use this directly over flames or hot coals because you might exceed that temperature. Now, I wanted to see how big of an issue that would be, and since they gave this one to me for free, I didn't have anything to lose, and so I fired up my gas grill up on high, and then I stuck this into a T-bone and let her rip. I went straight to the sear. And throughout that, I monitored the temperatures, and it never got over 600 degrees Fahrenheit unless there was a flare-up, but it was well within the range that would keep this working. And I probably wouldn't try that with one of my charcoal grills because you know that those are going to get a lot hotter. I wouldn't want to ruin it, but in that case, when I'm searing that hot, I really don't care about the temperature inside of the meat. I'm mostly just going to care what it's like when it's done. And this temperature probe is dishwasher safe, which means when you're done with the cook, you could throw it in the dishwasher and take it out when it's clean. Now, I didn't test that, but I did use it in the sink. I just used normal soap and water and a brush and was able to get it pretty clean and ready for the next cook. That was super easy. One of the concerns I had that this would eventually get kind of gross because of how much time it spends in the cooker. One thing to keep in mind though is at the end of the probe where the ambient temperature sensor is, it stays hot for a lot longer than you think. And so you want to make sure that it's completely cool before you remove it from the meat, or use a hot pad or something to remove it so that way you keep your fingers safe. I was pleasantly surprised with the battery life on this unit. They claim 30 hours of wireless transmission from the probe. You can do one cook 30 hours without charging. And I did about 10 hours on my pork butt cook, and when it was done, I cleaned it up, put it in the base station to charge, said it was about a third down, which extrapolates out to about 30 hours that they said that it would be, which is super cool. And if that's not enough time, you can charge the probe in about an hour from nothing all the way up to that 30-hour capacity, and you're ready to go. And one way that they get better battery life out of the base station is by limiting the brightness on this display. This is where you can see the temperatures that you're cooking at. And I noticed that it wasn't quite bright enough to view it well, even on a cloudy day. But if you don't like that and are okay with the battery life hit, you can change that in the settings so that way this display is always bright, or you could just use your phone. And speaking of the base station, this one came with one probe, but you can actually go up to 3 if you buy them separately. They have a door here on the back. It's magnetic, which makes it really easy to get off and on, even with greasy fingers. But inside there, you can have 2 more probes that will allow you to charge it while it's in there. This base station can also read from all 3 probes at the same time, which is really convenient because you don't have to get extra base stations as long as you keep it to those 3 probes. And even though the wireless probe is dishwasher safe, the base station is IP55 rated, which means it should withstand some basic rain. And that comes in handy if you get some unexpected weather, like the snow squall that I got in the middle of one of my cooks. In that case, I left this in the garage because I wanted to test the distance between the probe and the base station where it would still transmit. I was able to get pretty far. I also tried it by leaving this inside, with the probe outside, and that was about the absolute limit for the range. So if you need to have your base station closer and you're worried about the weather, you could always put it in something like a gallon zipper bag, and then you put it next to your unit, and that'll keep it nice and dry. And if you're new to cooking by temperature, one of the things that you can do is use the app, and they have a whole bunch of cuts pre-programmed in. You say the kind of meat that you're cooking, and it'll tell you what temperature the meat should be at the end when you're done. Super convenient and a great guide, and most of those temperatures are dead on. I used it when I was cooking the pork butt, and the results came out perfect. But if you feel like you can adjust those temperatures to suit your needs, you can always adjust them in the app and set it to the temperature that you want. That way you get alerted when your food is done. So another interesting feature that this comes with is a cooking time estimate. What that does is it says, this is the temperature that I'm at, this is how fast it's going up, and this is about how much longer it will take to finish that cook. An interesting thing happened when I was cooking that pork butt. When I first stuck it in and updated, it said it was going to be 899 minutes until it was done, which I assume is just the maximum amount because it hadn't registered a temperature change at that point yet. But the more that I used it, I think that the programming might be a little bit aggressive in thinking that it'll finish faster than it actually will, because as the meat heats up, it's going to start slowing down and cook a little bit slower, and it doesn't seem to account for that. But it's still a good guideline to give you some kind of a guess about how much longer you have on the cook. And ChefsTemp claims that this probe is accurate within 1 degree Fahrenheit, and so I tested it at a variety of temperatures in the cooking range with some of my other thermometers. I stuck it in a thing of water, and this one was dead on with all of the other ones, so I do believe that it's as accurate as they say that it is. And when it came to my pork butt, my tri-tip, and everything that I cooked on it, the results matched the temperature that this read perfectly. Overall, there's a lot to like about the ChefsTemp ProTemp Plus, and I plan to keep on using it. And if you're looking to purchase one for yourself, ChefsTemp gave me a discount code for 25% off that's good until the end of May 2024, and I've included that down in the description below so that way you can get a discount.